Assalamu alaikum. Hello, grade 5. We are going to continue our math lessons, and today's lesson is representing data using the bar graphs. First, we need to understand what is the meaning of a bar graph. A bar graph is a circle divided into slides or sectors. Like this shape, we have a big circle and it is divided into sectors or slides, like a pizza. It is a simple way to show the size or the fraction that represents each item relative to the whole pie. By looking at the circle, you can find red part, blue part, orange part, and a green part. Every part of those or every sector of those represents the value of an item. What is the circular sector, or what is the meaning of these parts? The circular sector is a part of a circular region, which is bounded by an arc of the circle. Here is the arc of the circle. Let's take the blue one for an example. Here is the arc of a circle. This one. And two radii passing through the endpoints of the arc. Supposed to be here, the end of the first radius, and the end of the second radius supposed to be here to end the arc. Like this, we understand about the bar graph itself. Now, how to make these fractions. We need to remember first that the fraction can be represented by a part of a circle as the following. Here represents the half. The colored part here represents half of a circle. So, if I want to represent half of a circle, I am going to divide the circle into two equal parts and start coloring one of them. This is for the third. If I want to represent the third of the circle, I'm going to divide it into three parts. Now, about the quarter, this shape represents the quarter. Here I am going to divide the circle into four equal parts. But I can also divide a half into two equal parts. So if we are talking about half of a circle, like this, the upper part only, I can have this half and divide it into two equal parts to make a quarter. The other example that we have here is for the six, for example. If we are having a whole circle, we can divide it into six equal parts, and if we have half of a circle, we can divide it into three equal parts. Now, for the representing data using the bar graphs. The following table shows the number of hours that Ahmed spent in studying in different subjects in a week. Here is our table. What is wanted? Represent this data by a pie graph. To represent this data, we need to understand it first. Total 24 hours in 1 week. For the Arabic, he studies 6 hours in a week. For the math, 12 hours per week. For the science, 3 hours by week. English, 3 hours per week. We need to remember that when we represent using the bar graph, we need fraction. Need to divide the circle into fractions. How? First, find the fraction that represents each item by using this rule. The fraction that represents A equals the value of item A over the value of all items. What is the value of A and what is the value of all items? The value of all items, which is our denominator, is always the total. So this is always 24. What we have in our denominator in this question is always 24. What about the value of item A? Item A represents one of those items: Arabic, math, science, English. To find the fraction that represents the Arabic, for example, we are going to take the value of the Arabic, which is 6 hours, over 24, over the total, which means quarter. And the same thing to the math. The math is 12 hours from 24 hours. It's going to give me the half. What about the science? 3 over 24 equal 8. And the English also 3 over 24 equals 8. Now, we need to represent by using the bar graph. Now I know every fraction. First, we need to draw a circle. Draw the circle, and the final shape is going to be like this. How we reached this shape? First, our circle. Here is a circle. No problem in drawing a circle. And we have here the center of the circle. I want you to make the half of the circle, or draw the diameter of the circle. Like this, we divided our circle into two equal parts, or into two halves. What we are going to do at the beginning, from here, you can find that we have a value for the half, as the half represents the math. So all this part, the half here, is for the math. Like this, we represented the math. After the half, I'm going to search for something else I can represent clearly, like the quarter, for example. Now, do you remember from the previous part when I told you that if you have half of the circle, you can divide it into two equal parts to find a quarter? Here it is. Divide it into two equal parts. Here, like this, I'm going to make this part as in Arabic. Here is a quarter. So, we represented the quarter, or represented the Arabic. Then we have eighth, or two equal parts here. Eighth for the science and eighth for the English. How to make it? I have here only quarter left. I use the half for the math, and I use another quarter for the Arabic. Now I still have only this part divided into two equal parts. Just like this. The English and the science are equal to each other. Got it? So all you have to do is to find the fraction that represents the item and use a common fraction that you know how to represent at the beginning to represent this data in your pie graph. Next question from our book in page 90. An employee spends his salary as follows: 200 LA for clothes, 800 LA for food, 400 LA for transportation and medicine, and 200 LA for renting an apartment. Graph that data on the opposite circle. Here he drew the circle by himself and divided too. He just needs me to put the suitable name in the suitable place. First, we need to find how much is the salary of this employee. I need to find the total. I need to find the denominator. So, our first step to solve this question is the total salary equals 200 plus 800 plus 400 plus 200 gives me 1600 LA. Now I know the total salary. Next step is to know the fraction that represents every part or every item that we have here. First, the clothes. He spent 200 LA on the clothes. So 200 over 1600. So the fraction that represents the clothes equals 8. What about the food? 800 over the total, 1600, equals half. A very common fraction, my favorite. It's very easy to represent it. After this, we need to know the fractions that represent transportation and medicine. 400 over 1600 equal quarter, and 200 for renting an apartment. 200 over 1600, 8. From here, before we start putting it, we can see that we have half and quarter and two equal parts, 8 and 8. Now, how to put the suitable item in its suitable place? Let's start with the half. Where is the half here? Of course, the blue part. So here is a half for the food. Like this, we finish the food. What about the other one? We need to search for the two equal parts. I have the red part equal to the green part. The yellow part is more than the red part and also more than the green part. So the red and the green are equal to each other, which means this one may be for the clothes and the other one may be for the renting. Like this. If you change it, no problem, both of them are equal. If you made here renting and here clothes, no problem. Now, the left part is for the transportation, and medicine, and it represents the quarter. That's easy. We need to find the fraction that represents every item and start representing it on the circle. This was about representing data using the pie graph. Last time we learned how to represent data by the histogram and the frequency polygon, and now we learned about the pie graphs. The last part that we have in our curriculum for this year is how to read what we did. Or reading tables and graphs. How can I read these and find information from them? Or how can I find the data from a graph? The opposite of what we did. This question, the opposite data representation, shows the number of babies who were born at a hospital from 2003 to 2007 from the drawing find. First, the number of births at the hospital in 2005. Second, the increase in the number of births in 2007 compared to 2003. Now, step by step, before we find, we need to understand the shape first. He is saying here, one shape of a baby represents 100 bears. So here is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. And what about the half face? It represents 50 only, not 100. So every full face represents 100 bears and every half face represents 50 bears only. First, he's asking about the number of bears at the hospital in 2005. Where's 2005? Here it is. How many full faces do we have? 3 full faces and 1 half face. 100, 100, 100, 100, 200, 300, or 100 times 3 plus 50, 350 pairs. Second, the increase in the number of pairs in 2007 compared to 2003. Here I need to find the number of pairs in 2007 and in 2003. Let's start with 2007. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 full faces, 5 times 100 or 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 pairs. Then, number of pairs in 2003, which is 100, 200, and 250 pairs. Then, to find the increase, we need to subtract those from each other. The number of pairs in 2003 from the number of pairs in 2007. 500 minus 250 equals 250 pairs. The next question that we have, the opposite bar graph shows what Samir, Adil, and Muhammad have saved during the first 5 months of the year. Before we complete the question, we need to make a difference between all of them. Samir is the blue part, Adil is the yellow part, and Muhammad is the green part. Complete. A. The savings of Samir are equal to the savings of Adil in April and in. Here he is talking about Samir and Adil. Where is Samir? Samir is the blue part. And where is Adil? Adil is the yellow part. So here in this question I am talking about the blue parts and the yellow parts only. Blue parts and yellow parts are equal in. He said April. Yes, that's right. What else? They are equal here too. In May. B. The savings of Muhammad are equal to the savings of Adil in. So Muhammad and Adil. Muhammad is the green, Adil is the yellow. So the green and the yellow are equal in only May. The savings of Samir are greater than the saving of Adil in. So Samir is greater than Adil. We are talking about the blue and the yellow. The blue is greater than the yellow when? Start from the beginning. Blue in January is greater than the yellow? Yes, then January. In February, the blue is greater than the yellow? Yes, so I can take it. In March, the blue is greater than the yellow? Yes, so I can take it. What about April? They are equal. What about May? They are equal. So here we learned how to read the graphs and find our data from it. Like that, we finished our lesson for today, and this is not the end of this video only, it's going to be the end of our curriculum too. Thanks a lot for watching grade 5. I hope you enjoyed our videos. Stay safe and healthy, dear. I'm waiting to meet you one more time in our classes. Thank you, dears. Goodbye.